What's going on, everybody? You've reached another edition of the NRW Checkpoint. Of course, you're always joined by your two best gaming hosts in the world, myself, WebsterStyle, the man, the voice of fragrance, and of course, always joined by my man, Brian Sapph. Brian, how you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm very good. Now,
Good.
our first release this week is Brian, are you familiar with Garbage Pail Kids?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that might be bit out of your age range. Kuya P definitely knows what I'm talking about, and I was very
Garbage
surprised.
Okay.
Yes, sirs. I'm excited for this one.
I was very surprised when I was looking at the list of release. I'm like, wait a minute, who is doing a Garbage Pail Kids license in 2022? That blew my mind. I'm like, wow. So the game in question is Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the Quest for the Stale Gum. And this is a retro-inspired game coming out for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Also, it is getting an NES release, physical release in 2023. Now, for those of you, for those of you who don't know, let me be frank. For you millennials and Gen Zers who are watching this, the Garbage Pail Kids were I should say younger millennials. Older millennials know exactly what I'm talking about. They were a line of Topps trading cards. Topps, the baseball company. Topps is trying to find other mechanisms to make money because, baseball cards were waning. There was only so many things to make cards of. So they came up with this line of grotesque kids, and they called them the Garbage Pail Kids. And there was a very disastrous 80s movie that came out based on them. But for us, especially like the 85, 86, 87, even going up to close to 89, like we traded them. They came with bubble gum. It was fun seeing all the grotesque kids. I remember one because I remember when I was in elementary school on my bus, there was a young man by the name of Ernest Randall. What's up, Ernest? I haven't seen him since. But anyway, I remember distinctly there was a Garbage Pail Kid named Rat Sucking Randall. And he had, he got it on the school bus because of that. And you get this kid and he has these rats on a lollipop stick and licking on them. I was like, that's the sort of thing that they had. So this game is authentically retro. So when we see it and we're watching the trailer, we had to watch the trailer for this one. It's very much an 8-bit style Nintendo game, pixelated child-like depictions of flatulence, buttocks, vomit, mucus, and more. So if you are like me or Kuya P, and you were a fan of Garbage Pail Kids, I always say Pail Kids, back in the day, this is definitely one of those games that we really wanted as a kid that never came out, but now as grown as adults, we can finally play it.
And it's coming out on the NES.
Right,
in
exactly.
2023.
And you'll probably still have to blow the cartridge just like the old school NES.
I imagine so. Wow, that's really dope. I think that's a dope idea.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that trailer. I will buy it just because. Yeah, it was really popular. It was really, I think the 80s were a weird time because it seemed like anything that kids liked that parents thought was maybe a little bit disgusting. Mm-hmm. You saw it on the news. They thought it was like from the devil, and it was crazy. Like it's crazy to think like things like Dungeons and Dragons people thought were satanic worship and things, and now it's like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons, magic. There's so many derivatives of that sort of source material, and Garbage Pail Kids was one of those things that the parents of the day, certain parents, I'll say, thought were disgusting and immoral and not Christian-like and yada yada yada. But you get the gist. So I'm excited for this one.
Okay, I mean it sounds disgusting. Now you said flatulence and things. They sound nasty.
Yeah. Flatulence, buttocks, vomit, mucus, and more.
Yeah, see, those are all things associated with nasty. So I can understand the parents
exactly
in the 80s. I could get that. It's just, it's a game.
Right.
So.
Right. Exactly. So next up, we're getting back more toward current gen stuff, and we have Saturnalia. And this is for the PS4, 5, Xbox One, SX, Switch, and PC. And this is an adventure game. So this is a survival horror adventure. You play as a cast of characters exploring an isolated village of ancient ritual. its labyrinthine roads will change each time you lose a character. So that's actually provides a whole lot of replay value because I'm pretty sure the order, I would assume, the order in which characters die, changes the roads in certain ways. So maybe if this character dies first, you do it this way. If another character dies first, it changes a certain way. So that sounds like a very interesting premise.
It is, and it kind of reminds me of like Fire Emblem with the permadeath thing that they have incorporated in their game. Like deaths of characters, they inflict the next step in the storyline pretty heavily, depending on because sometimes the characters die, they're not important, but if a main character or something dies, it's like, oh, wait a minute, now I have to, the story changes. So I'm interested because this is a horror game that's doing this.
Yeah, survival horror adventure game.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Right in time for Halloween. That's great.
Right, exactly. So speaking of the theme of the season, next up is Signalis, that's on the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And this is a retro futuristic survival horror game created by Rose Engine, inspired by Resident Evil and Silent Hill. In the game, you play as LSTR 512, otherwise known as Elster. Okay. The replica technician of a small scouting spaceship or starship sent out to parts unknown to find new worlds for humanity to colonize. So I can see the survival horror aspect there, especially in that sort of outer space. You're going to find different worlds, and who knows what you will find or will find you on these worlds. You may have to survive and get back to your ship in order to leave and to say, hey, don't come here.
Yeah, that's cool. Also reminds me of Pikmin. Because that's kind of the same thing. Like you're on the planet, and once the sun goes down, you can't work anymore. You have to go on the ship, or you get ate up by monsters or whatever.
Right.
But that's cool. What's it? Star Ocean, the Divine.
Yes, that's next up. That's Signalis. Yes, Signalis. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna Star Ocean next. I know you're definitely have laser sights on that one.
I see an RPG right there. I was like, wait.
Right. Exactly. Well, Brian let the cat out of the bag. Next game we're talking about is Star Ocean, the Divine Force, and of course, some Square Enix, of course, RPGs on the PS4, 5, Xbox One S, X, and Switch. So this is actually a sixth entry in the series. It takes place in SD 583 or AD 2670 between the Star Ocean and Eminence and Star Ocean till the end of time. The Pan-Galactic Federation, a force of peace in the galaxy that historically stood for justice, has changed. Wretched in darkness, they are assimilating planets against their will. So that's the basic plot. And we are watching the trailer for that one as we go forward, or once we get through all of these. So again, the Star Ocean series is one of those series that have been around for a while. I believe it started on the PS1 era.
Yeah, I think so.
PS2 era.
I think so. And it's always been interesting because this game has always eluded me for whatever reason. Like, I don't know. I think it kind of gave me like a Final Fantasy like sub, you know what I'm saying? Like not but diet or something. I don't know. But I don't know. Square Enix, they make games I like a lot. So I want to see the trailer for this because I feel like I would be into this if it didn't feel like Final Fantasy. But we have to see. Yeah.
Right. I've never heard comparisons between this and Final Fantasy, so I don't know. A lot of Square Enix video games or RPGs, you have that comparison to Final Fantasy, the derivatives of the battle system, or even either Final Fantasy proper or tactics. So you get a lot of cross sort of usage or derivatives of those battle systems. So I've never heard that about Star Ocean, though. So it'll be interesting to see once we watch the gameplay trailer.
Me too.
Next up is probably the game that's steeped in the most controversy this week. Have you heard about the controversy? Yeah. Okay. I wish we had that "Why You Always Lying" meme because that would be perfect for this one.
Was there lies being told? I know the voice actors lady was like, they tried to pay me $4,000 for.
She was lying. She was lying.
I knew it. Yeah. You know what? I just talked about that. I need to amend some things now because what?
Because let me be frank, $4,000 for that didn't even seem right.
It didn't, but even
Mm-mm.
then, I was like, okay, we're not boycotting the game for that. Like, you take that up with them.
Right, right.
Why would I do that when you already have money? I know that I did some research on that lady. She's not broke. So
Right.
complaining about 4K, I was like, okay, but now she's lying. Okay,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
information.
Apparently she was off at 15. But if you don't know what we're talking about Bayonetta 3.
Yes,
Developed by Platinum Games on Nintendo. Again, it's a Bayonetta series. It's that Platinum Games signature bullet hell dance Devil May Cry-ish sort of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So mysterious life form appears to be neither angel nor demon, are ravaging our world. Bayonetta, the omnipotent witch, is here to save our world, which is on the verge of destruction. So, if you play one, not saying it's a bad thing, but if you played a Bayonetta game, you know exactly what you're going to get into.
Yeah. I tend to liken it to Devil May Cry a lot. Like, I
Yeah,
feel
definitely.
like this is the Switch's version of Devil May Cry. Like, enemy, if you like Devil May Cry, you're definitely like Bayonetta. Same like battle system, same not premise, because there's different storylines, but there's a lot of similarities there, man.
Oh yeah,
If you like
definitely.
it, you like it.
I definitely agree. And the biggest game of the week is one that's not directly, but we've been hearing a whole lot about everything surrounding the past couple of weeks.
Right.
Is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and that's on the PS4, 5, Xbox One S, X, and PC. It's a first-person shooter. Do we really have to say anything about Call of Duty?
We don't.
If you're watching this, you know what Call of Duty is.
Hey,
So,
there you go. I was just getting
yeah.
ready to
So,
say,
yeah,
if you're
and
over
it's
here
the
watching, you know what Call of Duty is. If you don't, watch the trailer over on their YouTube channel. I don't know.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Call of Duty has been around since 05 now.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, this game series is almost 20 years old. It
Right.
comes out pretty much every year. It won't after next year, thank goodness. But
Yes.
you have a new iteration every year. It's arguably the biggest game franchise period at this point in time, as terms of sales and popularity, and this is that game that people now take off work to play when it comes out.
Yeah, which why are you still doing that? But I get it. It is an incredible. It's an incredibly storied franchise. Like, you put it up there with like the 2Ks and.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's just one of those games. Everybody knows what it is.
Yeah, everybody knows what it is. So that's our new releases, or the prominent release. And we have some other things when we talk about Resident Evil Village. The Gold Edition came out with the expansion and a couple other expansion packs. So, those things are out as well. But these are the new games that are out this week, or prominent new games that are out this week. Now, let's get into the trailers. Let's watch some farting, some mucus, and some buttocks, and some flatulence with Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the Quest for Stale Gum.
But a stale gum. Why he couldn't be questing for fresh gum? The gum is already gone.
Ever made Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the Quest for Stale Gum. With diaper-enhanced butt slams, axe, and
I said diaper enhanced.
Yes, it did.
Falls into the wrong hands. 4 playable characters, 6 punishing levels. Use the in-game trading cards to gain devastating abilities. Trade, collect them all. Bonus digital and behind-the-scenes content. Pooping and farting. Make politicians puke. Make your grandparents sick. Play the most disgusting retro game never released.
Oh yeah, see, this was created to like
Mad Mike and the Quest for Stale Gum digitally now
around the world. This definitely one of those rebellious teenager games or kid games.
It was kid, yeah. It was definitely, it was
terrible twos.
Right, exactly. And the funny thing is about this, when I was trying to find a proper trailer when I was putting everything together, I couldn't find one until it just kind of popped up later on this afternoon. But what I did find was these featurettes with and you saw some of that in the trailer there, them talking about the game, bringing it to life. They're billing it as this game that never released on the original NES. They really lean into the mythos and into the license. And I love when you see these creators that are very passionate about the game and the license, and they understand it. And clearly, as you saw in that video, the gentlemen that were there were maybe my age or a bit older. You know, you can't tell sometimes, but so they grew up with that property. So there's a love there. You definitely see that even in the voiceover for the game itself. And you know, when you have that kind of love for a property, we've seen that time and time again with a lot of games where we see these developers and we see that love they have for it. It turns out to be a really good game. We saw that with what Turtles.
Yeah,
Shredder's Revenge, and the love they have for the old Turtles games and how beautiful that game is and wonderful to play. We saw that with Dotemu and company with Streets of Rage 4. So when you have these companies that grew up on these properties that are then able to do what they want to really show how much they love them, usually they knock it out of the park.
Yeah. And I could tell like this development team, whatever, they really aiming for nostalgia with this game, which is good, you know what I'm saying? Because gamers, we range of all ages and genders and all that, sexualities, everything.
Right.
You know, it's a thing over here with us. We like games, don't care about the rest of that stuff. So it's really dope that they're trying to cater to a generation who missed out on the opportunity to have a dope moment with technology, because we see how Pac-Man shook up the world, and Mario and Sonic and things like that. And Donkey Kong, since we're talking Nintendo, like it's really dope that they get an opportunity to like bring this to life. And then on top of that, I know games are advancing and evolving, but it's also really cool to like keep those classic genres like side scrollers alive. And games like this tend to do that. They keep certain genres in a place where they can be appreciated as I guess mainstream gaming kind of continues to evolve. Because this is I could tell y'all excited about this game you're gonna go back to. It's only 6 levels. Like that's perfect. And it's coming to Switch and NES for all of you classic folks who want to bust out your your old NES and be like, hey, it still works. Let's load up this game. It's gonna be a good time.
Exactly. There's nothing but love there, and I love that. That's one thing I love about the show, and we get to talk about games. We really can see. I'm not saying the developers as a whole don't love them. There are some that just like their love for what they're doing really stands out with the game that they're making.
Right. I agree.
All right. Next up, we have exactly. I'm glad they did too. I'm excited to play that one. Next up, we have Star Ocean: The Divine Force.
Let's see.
It would seem war is much the same here in the stars as it is in our world.
Well, we came this far. Can't turn back now.
But like not.
I wish to go forth and protect this kingdom. No. This entire planet. Ray. Will you not take me with you?
Take that girl, man. I'm tired of being stuck
Right.
at the house.
They should be able to do on their own. Your safety, as well as Chloe's, could become compromised should we involve ourselves any further.
The Lawrence family comes from a long line of well-known merchants. We always pay our debts.
Yep, got that right. We'll make it work.
Blame your own misfortune that embroiled you in this. Now,
It looks cool.
Duma production model 004213 activating. Confirmed. Life forms in need of protection.
What the heck's this supposed to be?
what is this?
Later. Right now, we've got company. We are the ones who should be utilizing this power. Take control of her, and all this can change. Besides, our ride will be coming soon.
Which means we have to take what we want.
God, you mean we gotta fight them too?
I don't know, I'm getting Final Fantasy vibes from this.
Yeah.
This will never change until one or the other is no more.
Square Enix has like a signature.
Burgoldian Interstellar has already deployed forces throughout the system to intercept it.
Tell me you're seriously planning to strike at the Federation. Why exactly are you here, pray tell? Have you aims at
I mean,
world domination?
outer space sci-fi RPGs
Is a battle of ours.
usually that's a good formula.
Many experiences in this world far worse than death. There's nothing we can do.
Is evacuating the correct course of action?
That leaves not all well.
Don't worry, Dad. I got this.
But why would you do that?
Perhaps it's best if you enlighten them yourself. Tell them your purpose and identity.
It is not our intent to conquer.
And why should we believe you?
You have rejected our every guarantee of safety. Surely you know.
You were doing what you thought was right, correct?
Her Highness has chosen to die with dignity.
No!
Regardless of whether they wish it or not, such a future is now their fate.
So it looks fun. It definitely has a great inviting aesthetic to it.
It does. I really that trailer was, it packed a lot in there, a lot of story.
They did.
And a lot of the gameplay features. Like, that's how you're supposed to do a trailer, guys. Just
I agree. Yeah,
to
definitely.
the development, because what, guys, you put the movie cinematic out, and I'm like, well, how does the game play? They were like, gameplay trailer coming in 2 months. Like, just give me the everything.
Exactly.
Star Ocean looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. And last up is a game that is surely going to look good, and that's Bayonetta 3.
Bayonetta the third. And you know what's crazy? I really like Bayonetta, but I've never played a full Bayonetta game.
Same. I have the first one, and I played some of it. I mean, it's cool.
More new faces.
Like, I gotta play it.
Because it's a good game. I played it a demo for both. And I always start.
You mean those weren't your playmates?
Those things ain't Paradiso or Inferno. They're locals. In other words, they're part human.
But I like
A bit of fancy dress is in order.
Yeah, Platinum has that style. They just each game perfected.
If someone's wiping those universes out, one by one, they'll get their hands on enough power. Wipe out the whole Trinity in a snap.
Thank you, Professor.
Watch this, tiny friend.
With all those eyes, I think
I really like that the developers stayed with the Switch. They're like, you know, we could probably make more money on PlayStation or Xbox, but it's a staple.
Let's go.
Right. And surprisingly, Nintendo's kicking out that money for it too.
Right.
It doesn't seem like there are
They're homunculi.
as many of these sort of titles
Weapons.
as far as Nintendo's kicking out money for exclusive third parties
We
like
don't
this.
have time.
Right.
If we don't stop
There's not very
this
many
world in
titles
history,
like this on
and reality as we know it,
feel
it's
like
wiped up for good.
that's to their detriment because
And what do you expect us to
honestly,
do?
I don't look at the series.
I want you to find a scientist named Sigurd. Somewhere in this world,
What kind of
help
gamer
us.
you are is gonna be great for you. Like the game
Right.
on the go, that's clutch.
Do you know
Like you sit at home with a console game all day, it can also be a console. I feel like content like
Have we met before? I think I remember you, bad girl.
I'm just invite more developers.
Someone seems very interested
Yeah, I agree.
in your rival.
Is it him?
Lesson 1. Carelessness will get your tail snipped.
Who are these other characters? That I'm interested to find out.
Me too. I feel like character might be new to the series because we're number 3 now. But then
Yeah.
I haven't fully played 1 and 2. Like the extra character that's been in the shadows this whole time. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I feel like the black guy who was in the first one, but the other ones, I don't know about like them being playable. So that's new to me. So I'm interested to find out.
Sega. Sega knows what they're doing. Okay.
Look, the only thing I want from Sega is a Dreamcast Mini. That's all I want.
You know, and the Dreamcast, it had a time, man. Let's get ready to rumble. If we could just get that onto the Switch.
Yeah, ready. Yeah.
Maybe
plus they never made that backwards compatible. But you know what? They probably can because Michael Buffer's probably charging too much for that license nowadays. He charges like $1 million just for one voiceover now.
Wow.
So yeah, it's crazy. But hey, when you got that fame, you can do that.
Yeah, when you know your worth, charge it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's Bayonetta 3. Brian, what do you have coming up this week, man?
I'm on the other side. This is my podcast. Well, you know, this one, but then this is what I'm doing this week or what's coming up. I got the talking on the microphone. I was like, this is going extremely long. So I'm breaking up the episode. Headlines coming out first, just to go ahead and get all that out. And then my regular music, game chat, and the playlist, because TV has been really, really good. If you watch House of Dragons, we got some stuff to talk about. So yeah, that's what's coming up this week. Talk+Play broadcast, doing all the headlines and everything. Got to edit some things because I'm just finding out about this lady lying about this $4,000.
Why you always lying?
Right. Why are you always lying? You don't have to do this. People can they can find out the truth. So
this is unnecessary. This is when people need you to shut up and not say nothing.
Yeah, like Kanye.
Right. We ain't talking about that. Look, that's the
I will be discussing it on this
about how to fumble the bag. Fumble the bag he has.
It's gonna continue to fumble. I'm excited to see how he tries to climb out of this hole he's digging, because I feel like he enjoys doing this now.
It's deep. It's real deep at this point. All right, so let's talk and play blerdcast, the Toy and Geek podcast with WebsterStyle. Episode 32 dropped late, but at the time of this recording, it just dropped yesterday. So I'm talking about a whole bunch of trailers. They dropped remake for a house party. I'll get to my explanation in an episode. Violent Night, Knock at the Woods. Yeah, not a remake. They remade Terror Train for some reason. I'm like, why? Terror Train is an obscure 80s slasher film that originally starred Jamie Lee Curtis with a killer clown on a train. It came out like a year or two after Halloween. They decided to remake it. Why? Okay. And then, of course, Creed 3, Lower Decks, talk about corduroys as a fall essential. And this coming week, I have no idea what I'm talking about yet. So we're going to figure it out together, shall we? A bunch of trailers dropped with the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. A couple other trailers dropped today. Ant-Man dropped yesterday, so I'll definitely be talking about that. In addition to, I think I'll finally get around to watch Halloween Ends. I don't know yet. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on as far as that is concerned. Of course, you're not on the Talk and Play broadcast. You're not on the Soft Toy and Geek podcast, but WebsterStyle. You're with Nerds Rule the World. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the NRW, on Instagram at New Release Wednesday, and of course, you're currently on YouTube, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Because why not? God damn it, just do it.
Exactly, just do it
next week.